Hello, today we are going to try to see if Borland Delphi 7 integrated development environment runs correctly in the operating system ReactOS. So this is a virtual machine running the latest daily version of ReactOS. ReactOS is an operating system which is similar to Windows, can run Windows applications and Windows kernel modules. I've started Delphi, I've created a new project, and now I'm trying to implement a notepad application. Let's see how it runs. Okay, help menu, exit. So the operating system ReactOS is implemented to be as compatible as possible with Windows XP SP2. It runs many software applications made for Windows XP, and it also says that it runs some kernel modules, such as probably the ones from Virt for virtualization, virtual machine, network interface card, etc. Okay, so we're using the daily version. We're running it in a QEMU KVM virtual machine, resolution 1080p. The hard disk is ID 100 gigabytes, the RAM is 4 gigabytes, and just one single CPU thread. The operating system does not have SMP yet, symmetric multiprocessing or hyperthreading. Okay, and then Delphi is an integrated development environment, programming language, framework currently from Embarcadero Technologies, previously from Borland, successor of Turbo Pascal, and this is the version 7, which is from the year 2002. This one. So around the same time that the first version of .NET framework was released to the public with Visual Studio.NET. Okay, this is the splash screen. This is how the IDE looks like. It doesn't use tabs. It uses MDI. So multiple windows inside of a single application, and you can see between the windows the applications that are behind that Delphi 7 integrated development environments, tool windows and windows. Okay, this is SeaMonkey. I needed a version that runs correctly on Windows XP, and I needed to try multiple versions until I could find one that works correctly in ReactOS because of the limitation. Okay, so let's start Delphi 7. Let's start Total Commander, which is the file manager that I'm usually using in Windows. Let's create a Delphi project from scratch. So today's date. Let's rename this thing. Okay. What's happening here? File, save project as, and this should be the main unit. This is main form. This. And this is the project, which is Delphi notepad. Okay, let's resize the form. So this is a form editor. This is the tool window with object tree view. So the controls that we drag and drop to the form will be shown in here as a tree view. This is the properties, and these are the events. This is the source code, and this is the structure of the source code. Okay, so this form 1 should be, what's the type, this thing? This should be main form. The caption should be Delphi notepad. Okay, looking good. This will resize it. So this is the initial dimension. We'll need a main menu. So this is the toolbar with the palette of controls. There's standard and additional. And we have main menu, which will edit. So this is the top level menu, main menu of the application. This is the accelerator and file. This is the exit. Something like that. And this is usually edit. And this is help. This is about. Okay, so we have a main menu now. Let's implement help about. I double-clicked in the editor for menus. It did the correct thing, which is tmain form about click, created a method. I press the tab key. It indents with 2 spaces by default, which is okay. Main form will show a Win32 message box. Okay, HWND, this is the Windows windowing system handle. And we have such a thing in the current object, because the current object is of type tmain form. So there's self, which is kind of like this in C# and other programming languages. We need the handle, this thing. And then LP text, this is the body of the message box. In here we'll have the name of the software, so Delphi notepad. Version 1.0.1. So this is a Delphi string, but it gets translated to a PNC char, which is a pointer to char Win32 style. So ASCII, not WCHAR-T, not double byte, but single byte. Okay, caption is the title. The title of all windows of the application should have the name of the application. Okay, and then the type should have just one button. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the functions of the integrated development environment. If I hover on top of the function message box, it says that it's a func, so not a procedure, and it returns a value. It returns the type integer, and it's defined in windows.pass. Control click takes us to windows.pass, and these are the overloads. So Windows style, there's message box, which, because Delphi 7 is still not Unicode yet, is the same thing as message box A. And then there's message box W, which exposes the same function from Windows, Win32 API, but with double chars, so with UCS2, what Microsoft calls UTF-16 little endian. Okay, so message box is actually the ANSI version, the ASCII version, A. Okay. Close page. And then the signature, so HWND, which is a Win32 type, p-ANSI char, which is a pointer to single byte char, and cardinal, and returns integer. Okay. The next thing that we want to do is to make it actually a notepad. So for that we'll need a control, a graphical user interface control. That's a multi-line edit box. So this is the edit box, a single line edit box, and this is the multi-line edit box memo. Okay. This should be named main memo. Okay. And inside there's the lines tstrings, which we need to edit to make empty. Okay. And then if we save and run right now, the multi-line edit box takes some random space inside of the window and doesn't resize automatically with us resizing the window. So this means that the memo is not aligned, not docked, not anything. So in Delphi you do it with the property align and al client. So this is an enum. All of the members of the enum have their names starting with lowercase al. Delphi is not a case-sensitive programming language, but for me it's really important that we respect the preferred capitalization, which is keywords all lowercase, and then exactly the same capitalization that's defined for symbols. So if the symbol is defined as the main form, then that's the capitalization that I want to see used everywhere. If the capitalization is message box with an uppercase M, lower uppercase B, So Pascal casing, that's what I want everybody to use. We could use all lowercase in here and it would be okay. Okay, it still will work. The simplest way to do it is to go at the end of the identifier, press Ctrl space and then press enter. This will replace a random capitalization of an identifier with the canonical capitalization of an identifier. Okay. What else can we do? Let's implement file exit. Menu designer, file exit. I double click on file exit. And the source code is application and then some of the members of application. One of the members of application will allow us to exit the application. We can resize the auto-completion pop-up. Okay. And we can also sort the auto-completion pop-up. You right-click on the pop-up menu and go sort by name. I'm not sure exactly what it's the use of sort by scope. So this is about the fact that application inherits from a Delphi type that inherits from a Delphi type that inherits from a Delphi type, etc. So it shows at first the members of the type application and then the members of the class it inherits from, etc. Which I'm not sure what the use of is. So I go right click, sort by name. Okay. So let's now look what member of application will actually close the application. So there's destroy, which is the destructor, so the opposite of a constructor. There's free, which is the destructor. Okay. We already used handle. Application icon is probably the icon that's shown in the ReactOS taskbar. We can minimize the entire application. Okay. But how do we close the application? The only possibility, there's no exit, there's no close, is terminate. So let's use that. And let's see what terminate is. So terminate is a procedure. So the procedure is a, in this case, a member function that does not return anything. And these, because it does not have any parameters, you might use it like this. But I always put a pair of empty parentheses if there's no parameters to a function, method, or procedure. Let's see if it works. And let's see if this thing is modal to the application. Yes, it is. We cannot edit the text in the memo, in the multi-line edit box, because the about box is modal to the application, which is what we wanted. And then exit. Exit the application. Okay, so we're very advanced. The next step is to actually put the application under version control using Git. So let's do that. Right click in the directory, git-gui here. It says that there are no Git repository, there's no Git repository in this directory. We can go create new repository, dot, which means the current directory, create. This opens git-gui, which offers us a list of files that we need to include in a git commit for the initial git commit. But we do not know which files to include and which not, because we do not know how to create a .gitignore file for Delphi. So the canonical place to get gitignore files for anything, any programming language, is GitHub. So we go gitignore and then Delphi. Okay. Unfortunately, GitHub does not work with this old version of SeaMonkey. So let's see what version of SeaMonkey I can install and I cannot install on this machine. So the version 220 is too old, does not support enough HTTPS protocols. So I cannot access any HTTPS website, which is nowadays you hardly find a HTTP website without an S. Then versions 253 and 249 I could not install because it says that either Windows XP is not supported or that some function is missing in a Win32 DLL. So I should probably search for a newer version of SeaMonkey that's newer than 2.30 but less than 2.49 until I find a sweet spot where sites such as GitHub maybe start working. But I still can install it because, again, ReactOS in my case mimics Windows XP 32-bit SP2. So Windows 5.2. Let's see the actual version. So ver is the command line application that shows the Windows version. And this is the GUI application that shows the version win-ver. So it's actually 5.2 Service Pack 2, which is XP. Okay, so just a second, let me get the content of the file that should be shown in here if SeaMonkey could display GitHub. Okay, so I'm communicating from the host machine to the ReactOS virtual machine using Wikipedia Sandbox. Okay, so this is the plain text version of the GitHub delphi.gitignore file. Let's save it. Okay, and the name should be just.gitignore. Let's make sure that the file has appeared. So this is it. I have installed Total Commander, which is an orthodox file manager, twin pane file manager. So the left pane and the right pane. I've installed this thing, which is scite. Where are you? No, this is the lister. Wrong button. Okay, so F3 is view and F4 is edit. So for the viewing, I use the internal viewer inside Total Commander. For F4 edit, I'm using this thing, which is scite. Okay, so the file exists, has the correct name .gitignore, has many comments, and then it excludes binary files, Delphi compiled units, ActiveX, okay. So this extension that starts with a tilde, which is a backup, so the backup of the DPR, DDP, DFM pass. So it looks okay. Okay, so now we can rescan in git-gui. It will show us a different list of unstaged changes. Many of the files that were previously offered as unstaged changes are actually now git-ignored. So let's add the git-ignore file. I'm not sure what the dof file does. DPR is the solution file. This is something about resources, probably for the application icon, which is this 7 and the green globe. DFM is a declarative way of specifying the structure of whatever we see in the forms editor. So starts with a form of type T main form named main form. Okay, this is the source code of the main form, umainform.pas, and the DDP, I do not know what it is. Okay, the text for the git initial commit is always initial commit. Okay, so let's go further. Let's implement, if possible, the elements inside of the main menu of the application edit. So here should be the usual cut, copy, delete, cut, copy, paste, delete selector. So let's do this, cut, copy. Let's see the shortcuts. How do we see the shortcuts? By pressing the Alt key. So that's T and C and P. So this thing is cut. This thing is copy. Paste is P and delete is D. Okay. Select all, the last one. With accelerator L. Wow. What's the capitalization? With uppercase A. Okay, how do I do the shortcuts? Control X. Let's try to see. So shortcut, Control X, this thing. Okay. Copy, Control C, paste, Control V. Okay. Delete, Control Delete. Let's not do such a thing. Select all, Control A. Okay. Let's run and see. Cut, copy, paste, delete, select all. File exit, help about. Okay. What's the name of the memo? So it's main memo. Okay. Let's go with delete first. Main memo. This is delete. How do we edit the text? Text. What is text? It's a property. There's method select all, method clear. So that should probably be it. Set window text handle and then empty string. And set window text is from windows.pass. Okay. Right click, close. Not that fast. Okay, so it was stuck for 2 seconds, then it got unstuck. Closing tabs with Pascal files open inside takes a while. Okay, so let's see that clear works. Edit, delete, great. The rest of the elements. Select all. Main memo. Dot. There is a method exactly like that. Procedure select all. Okay, what else? Cut, copy, paste. Main memo. Dot. What's this cut? Cut to clipboard, great. Main memo. Control space autocomplete. Dot. Copy to clipboard. And then the last one. Edit, paste. Tab key. main uppercase M, control space, enter, dot paste from clipboard. Okay, and that should be about it. So I've selected just the word, Control Shift left arrow key, Control Shift right arrow key. We go edit, select all, edit, cut, edit, paste. Double click does not work. So Control Shift left, edit, copy, and space, edit, paste. Paste, edit, paste. Let's delete this select. Edit, delete. Okay, Control V. Everything seems to work okay. Okay, let's code fearlessly. Let's do a git commit. So these are the differences. Only two edited files. In the source code file PAS, we've added menu items for the edit main menu and event handlers for the click event. And then the implementation of each event handler is just one call to a method inside the main memo. So there's clear, select all, cut to clipboard, copy to clipboard, paste from clipboard. And this is the DFM file, which is the serialization of what's seen in here in the forms editor, including this tree view and the properties. So we've added cut, copy, paste, delete, select all T menu items, each with a text, each with an accelerator, each with a control something shortcut, except delete, and event, and then event handler. Okay. Next, let's see a status bar that shows the current line, current column, and the char count, character count. So where is that? The status bar. This is the palette, this is the selector, and then frame, main menu, pop-up menu, label. This is an edit box, memo, multi-line edit box, buttons, checkbox radio, list box, combo box, scroll bar, group box, radio group, panel, action list. Okay, and additional. Fancy control bar, label and edit, action something, so there's action list, action manager, action main menu bar, action toolbar. These are colors. And then this is the third tab of the controls palette, which is named Win32. So these are controls that just use the Win32 API control. And don't provide controls for almost other operating systems. Okay, and between those, there's the status bar. How do I do it? Double click. Yes, double click. Okay, named status bar 1. And there's panels. Let's see what panels is. New panels. So I want a panels of 0. And we give it with alignment left justify. So they should be, yes, left justified. 50 width, more than enough. So 0 will be the line number, 1 will be column number, and 2 will be character count. So this text should be 0. This text should be 0. This text should be also 0. Okay. Okay, so all of these three integers, the line number, column number, and char count, needs to change when the content of the main memo changes. So let's implement the event where the text inside the memo changes. Click context, double click, drag drop, drag, and enter, exit, key down, key press, key up, mouse down, mouse up, start doc. So the default is on change, and that's what we need to implement. Okay, how do we get the three counts? Let's create local variables. Var. So the first one is line number. Column number. And the last one is char count. Okay. How do we compute this? Let's see. What do we have available? So there's this property of type tPoint, which is called caret pos. Let's see what this thing does. Control click on it. Get caret pos. What does that thing do? Get caret pos. Control click on it. It's virtual, implemented by tcustom memo. Okay. the scroll in file is really not responsive. Hopefully this is the property that we're after. If not, we're going to implement something else. So caret pos is a t-point, so it has a uppercase X or an uppercase Y. T-point is a struct. Yes, packed record X and Y long integer. Okay, so closing windows takes forever. Closing tabs. So maybe we'll not do that. And key on the keyboard works. So X and Y goes from top to bottom and X goes from left to right. So this would be column number. Column number. So column goes from left to right. Line number goes from top to bottom, which sounds like Y. Okay, and the count, that's main memo dot text. That's the thing. Lines, t-strings. Okay. So t-strings is an array of string, has methods to add Let's see what this count thing is. Is the count of lines or the count of characters? Okay, and this count is what a property. Get count, yes. Okay. And now how can we act on the status bar? Panels. Of 0 text. So the first one was the line number. Int to string goes from integer to string. Okay, the same thing for the rest. Panels of 1 and 2. The first was line number, then column number, and then char count. Okay, let's run it as fast as we can. So it says 000. I add one character, and now the line is 0, the count is, the column is 1, and the count is 1. Okay. Let's see how Delphi does it. This is the line number 92, and this is the column number, which is 50. So at this position, we showed 0, 0, whereas Delphi shows 1 and 1. So we need to increment both line number and column number by 1. Stop a bit. So we display line number plus 1, column number plus 1, and lines has a method to go to the list of to a string. To string or something. Let me dig. So it says that memo has a property which is called text. The custom edit text, the caption, okay? And we get the length of strings with what? Using the length function in the unit system. So length receives as parameter a source string or a source array and returns integer. Okay, so we start with the wrong numbers, should be 110, but after we change the text, the numbers become correct. 121. So all of the numbers are correct, except that they start with the wrong values. So that's because in the status bar panels, the start values are wrong. So we're starting at XY position 0, 0. That means line 1, column 1, and character count 0. Okay, so 110 for coordinates x, y, 0, and 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 should show a character count of 6 and should ignore white spaces. Or should not ignore white spaces. So in this case, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 6 characters. Plus the not visible here new line separator, which is a Windows style new line separator, which is \r\n, which is character 13 and character 10. So let's remove the new lines and let's see then if we can change the icon, and then that should be it. Okay, let's make a backup first. So we've implemented the event onChange of the main memo, which is of type tmemo. The implementation is this method, tmain for main memo change, where we compute 3 integers and then we display those integers converted to string, and if needed, not 0 indexed but 1 indexed. Okay, and we've added a status bar which seems to come from comctrls, which is common controls, not comdecom controls. Okay, this is the added control of type T status bar, which has 3 panels. The panels have inside a text, and they're left justified, left aligned, and the width is 50 pixels. Okay. So next we want in char count to remove all of the new lines. Let's do this in some barbaric way. How do we do that? The scroll is really horrendous. So let's declare a type inside of the implementation. Can we have that? Static method. What should we do? Let's try with a type. So this is type the new line remover from text. Okay. This is a class, ends with and has just one function, which is a method which is public. Which is function. Remove new lines. Text string and returns another string. It's here. Okay, I don't really know the syntax all of the times. Can't we create a using a wizard a class? Okay, let's hope we know the syntax. I need to remember not to scroll. Stop. Okay, so the new line remover. This is function. Where are you? Okay, so we receive a text which we want to replace. Was the function to replace strings? So it's a replace, string replace. The text from and to. So from, that's chr of 13 plus chr of 10 backslash r backslash n, replace with nothingness, and then the options rf, replace all, and rf. No need to ignore case, so that's it. And we return this thing. Okay, let's put a breakpoint in here. This should be static. How do we do that? Okay, so that's done using the class keyword. So that's class. And also probably we want static. If that's supported by Delphi 7. Let's see. Okay, it does not support static. Okay. So we take the type name. Stop scrolling. And we want the length excluding new lines of main memo.txt. So that's this dot that of that, like this, Control S. Let's run. A. Okay, so we have the text which is A. The debugger has worked correctly. I've put a breakpoint here. It stopped when it entered this line. The parameter of this static method is the text inside the multi-line edit box inside of the tmemo, which is just an A. It will take the A, the string, it will look at all of the characters inside, it will try to find the string \r \n, will replace it with nothing, and then will return the new created string. Okay, so it should return A in this case. How do we run the debugger? Step over F8. Okay, char count is still 1. Run F9. And now we put a new line in here. Okay. Text contains a, so it's a string with 3 characters, lowercase a, \r, which is character 13, which is hexadecimal D, and then \n, which is ASCII, in ASCII table at position decimal 10 at position hexadecimal A, F8 step over. Okay, and then char count now is 1. Great. F9 to run. And let's put a B, remove the breakpoint, F9 to run, and then add some new lines between A and B. 1, 2, 3. So no matter how many new lines I put, the char count excluding new lines remains 2. So just 2 characters, A and B. Okay. The column count is still 1 when I work in here, but the row count should change from 1, 2, and 3. So the line count, the line number and column number should change based on the current position, not based only on if the content of the memo changes. So even if the content of the memo stays unchanged, if we move the cursor, the first 2 integers in the status bar should change. So the only thing that we want to change in the status bar when the text inside the memo changes is the third label, which is the char count. So if the text inside the memo changes, we always want to update the char count. Whereas if we have a mouse up operation with the mouse, we can change the cursor position like this. So I go mouse down and then up, or I can go key up. So this is right arrow key down, and this is right arrow key up. So in fact, I see that on key down, Delphi changes the column count. So I just pressed the left key, just pressing the down the right key. I'm not releasing the right arrow key. Okay, and with the mouse, on mouse down, it automatically changes the column count. I do not need to go mouse up. So what's the mouse up? Mouse down. On click. Let's go on mouse down. It puts the method in the wrong place. Okay, so the implementation should be really similar. We want a private method and then call that twice. So this is a procedure because it doesn't return anything. This is a private method because it needs access to members of self. Okay, let's see this running. So I'm changing the text. Everything is computed correctly. If I move just the arrow, if I move the cursor using the arrow keys, nothing happens. If I left mouse button, click on mouse down, it changes the line number. So on mouse down it does that thing, which is what I want. And I also want to do this on key down. So on key down, this thing. Let's run. So A, B. And if I keep the down arrow key pressed, it works. Okay, let's put many spaces in here. And a B. So now if I do not release, so I do not do key up on the left arrow key, I just do key down on the left arrow key, the column count, which is the second integer in the status bar, should decrease. And it does. Okay, that's it. And now let's see if we can change the icon. Let's do a git commit first. Two new event implementations on key down and on mouse down. And a event implementation. So we have 3 events with just 1 event implementation. So self.main memo caret change is called 3 times. From main memo change, main memo mouse down, main memo key down. And we're removing new lines. So remove lines. Also handle mouse down and key down. Commit. And the history looks like this. So initial commit, main menu item edit, status bar, and this last git commit. Okay. So we said that we only want one thing extra, which is to change the icon. How do we do that? Click on the form. In the object review, select the form. Properties in the object inspector. And then the properties named icon, this guy. And we can load an icon. Let's push our luck and see if icofx works correctly in ReactOS. We cannot continue with recommended cookies, nor manage settings. I'll download icofx and then we'll see if it runs or not. Okay, so I found a version of icofx portable. I've pasted inside Wikipedia Sandbox from outside the virtual machine, and now inside the virtual machine, inside SeaMonkey, I have access to the Wikipedia Sandbox, and I have this URL. That's because I cannot navigate to many websites using this old version of SeaMonkey. Either I cannot accept the cookies prompt, or there's some problem with HTTPS connection or other advanced JavaScript functionality, or the website refuses to work correctly in older versions of Firefox. Okay, where do we download this thing? My documents, downloads, save. Okay, finish downloading. Documents, administrator, my documents, downloads. And I have 7-zip installed, which works correctly, the latest version of 7-zip. This is icofx, extract it. Control X, Control V. So icofx, let's see if it dares to start. icofx has started. It asks me the language that I want. I go OK. Open an existing, create an icon from an image. Create Windows icon from an image listing. And we need a JPEG. Which JPEG? So let's try with the Paint application. in ReactOS there's an MS Paint available, accessories, paint. Let's make the size a rectangle, a square. How do we do a square? Shift, Control, Alt. So it should be 302285. This one. Okay, and we'll use anything in here. What can we do? This thing. Okay, let's see if I can save this thing. My documents, unnamed.png, great. Let's see how it looks like. There's a ReactOS picture and fax viewer. Looks okay. And now from icofx, documents, unnamed.png, open. Okay, it has created a file.ico for Windows with many resolutions, 256, 256, 64, 48, 40, etc., 32 bits of color. The biggest one, 256, is a PNG zip compressed or something. The rest are normal equal. 8 bits of color and 4 bits of color. So let's save this thing. The black point icon. Okay, let's see how that thing looks like. ReactOS picture and fax viewer looks okay. And then from Delphi, let's go documents, blackpoint.ico, open, and okay. So that should be it. Let's run the application. The correct icon is shown in the title bar. The wrong icon is shown in the status, in the ReactOS taskbar. Okay, why is that? How do we configure the applications icon, not just the forms icon? Just a second. Okay, so what I did was just to set for this window the icon. So it was main form, properties, and then icon. but I need to set the icon of the application, which is done from project options, the tab application, and then load icon, blackpoint.ico, open, and then OK. Let's see it running. Save, run. And now it has the correct icon in the ReactOS taskbar, in the window title. Let's do a final git commit, and then that's it. So you may form DFM. In here it sets the icon for the tmain form, for main form. And then it's a huge icon. It has many color depths, many resolutions. It has the 256 by 256 PNG compressed, so it's very large. And then the binary resource file, where probably the icon of the entire application was configured. This is the packages. We actually do not want that. We want our application to not depend on DCUs, on Delphi compiled units. So we would revert this thing. Okay, this is icon. Commit. So this is the entire history. Initial commit. These files were generated by the Delphi new application wizard. When you open Delphi, it automatically generates a new VCL Win32 graphical user interface application with one form. In here we've added a main menu with elements, file exit, and help about. In here we've added the main menu edit, status bar, fixes for the status bar, and the final one was the icon. Thank you.